Thank you so much for coming to my YouTube page. I am Chris, and today I want to talk to you about toxic relationships. I know that some people don't even know they're in toxic relationships, and I think things like stay together for the kids, stay together because you've been together so long. I think there's excuses when it comes to being in a toxic relationship, and I wanted to kind of point out a few things that I learned myself being in these relationships, and when I look back I go, oh my god, that was toxic. My reason for staying in these relationships could have been that I wanted to change somebody, or I was waiting for him to change or him to treat me better, or maybe I just didn't realize how far this could actually go. Maybe this is the worst that will happen, and maybe whatever, I can deal with this, that's fine. If he's being a brat, I could just leave for the day and come back. I had to learn the hard way what toxic relationships are, and my goal is always to share what I know and share what I've learned, pass it forward, and maybe it can help someone else. So let's talk about toxic relationships. You know, we all have pasts, and we've done things that we might regret, or we've done things that we might feel bad about, or things that we don't feel bad about, and we're just like, whatever, I was young. But I think moving forward into other people's lives, some people like to harp on the things that you have done previously before you even met them. I had to learn that that was a toxic trait. I went through that in one of my relationships where the guy would pretty much pick at my past. He wanted to know how many people I had sex with. He wanted to know who they were in case he ran into them. He spent every single day asking me about things in that relationship. So he was kind of harping on things that happened in my past, and he would make me feel bad about it. And he would make me feel like I was a whore, or like, you had a one night stand, I can't believe you would do something like that. I learned eventually that that was a toxic trait, and in the moment I was trying to compromise with him. I was trying to be open and vulnerable with him, because that was something that was hard for me. So I was like, maybe if I change this, then he'll be more comfortable being with me and it will help us in the future. It did the complete opposite, honestly. It made him even more insecure. It made him snoop around in my things a lot. It made him not want to trust me for whatever reason, because this happened prior to him. It made him basically emotionally abuse me, shunning me because of something I did when I was younger that I had already gotten over, and he was just harping on it. So I learned that being shamed because of your past is a toxic trait. And if that's happening to you, I think now is the time that you create your boundaries. If you aren't comfortable sharing with that person how many people you've had sex with because they're making you feel like a bad person, I think you should set your boundary. I'm not comfortable telling you this because the last time I told you, you treated me like I was the odd apple of the bunch, and I don't appreciate that. And if they can't make that change, you have to decide if you're going to move forward or not. Another toxic trait is someone being clingy, very, very, very clingy, very nosy. They won't let you out of their sight. They won't let you take a break from them. They won't allow you to go to the store by yourself. They want you with them at all times. It's a toxic trait. This person is more than likely trying to control you. They are trying to keep tabs on you. They don't trust you for whatever reason. And when there's no trust in a relationship, obviously that's going to ruin it, because you aren't allowed to be free, and that person doesn't want you to be free. They don't want to spend a second without you because they're trying to watch you constantly and make sure you're not doing something that's going to upset them or embarrass them or whatever the case. I think that it is very uncomfortable walking on eggshells in a relationship. I know for me, I require lots of space. If my significant other calls me, I'll answer. And more than likely I'll answer, unless I can. If I'm in the shower, I'm not gonna bust my ass to get out the shower to answer. Hey babe, I was in the shower, sorry. I'll call them back immediately. There's a way of having trust in a relationship, and you don't need to be constantly under someone else for them to be a part of your life. So clinginess, nosiness, going through your stuff, toxic. You should have, and if you're going through someone's stuff, it's still toxic. You should allow the other person in the relationship to have their own space, have their own things, and if they are doing something that's inappropriate, it will come to light eventually. You will find out about it. Going to find it, snooping, is toxic. In one relationship that I was in, I used to be accused of doing things that I did not do. And it frustrated me so much because I was being told that I was doing something that I would never do. You're cheating on me. Huh? When you find yourself being accused of things that you did not do, this seems like more of a personal problem with the person that you're with. They don't trust you because maybe they're doing something they're not supposed to do. They don't trust you because maybe of their past, they need to get over it. They need to soul search and figure out what's going on with them and why they're accusing you. Normally, if someone's doing that to me, I don't deal with them because I like to create a space where I'm positive all the time, and anyone around me, I would like and prefer them to be on the same page. I feel like it's very negative to continue to accuse somebody of something they didn't do. When somebody refuses to talk about an issue or talk about a problem, I feel like that's very toxic. If you want to talk about something, like, for example, if you want to talk about an issue that happened, I don't appreciate how you treated me in front of this group of people, and that person is like, okay, well, I don't want to talk about it. It's kind of like, it's a very toxic thing to do that, because what's happening is you're shutting your partner out. You're not giving them the floor to talk about issues. And what that does, it makes the other person feel like they're not important enough for you to listen to them. Definitely not fair. If you have something that's very important that you want to talk about, and yes, nagging is a different thing, but if you have something important to talk about and your partner is not wanting to talk about it for whatever reason, multiple times for multiple reasons, then this is a toxic trait. I've learned that people who try to keep you from your friends and family are very toxic. They're doing that for a reason. They are trying to control you. They're taking you away from people who have enough sense to let you know that this person is not good for you. So what they do is they separate you so that they can morph you into the person that they want you to be. This is a very toxic trait. You have to watch out for that. You have to understand that you are free to do what you want to do. If that person does not allow you to see people that you love, then that is a toxic trait. In the relationship that led to an engagement, we moved so fast, so fast. I mean, within 3 months, we were about to move in together, and it was very, very fast. And at the time, I felt like, oh my gosh, this is love at first sight, and this is moving so fast, and I get the things that I want. I have a man, we're gonna move in together, we're gonna buy a house, we're gonna live happily ever after. And then he proposed to me, but he proposed to me because prior to that, he had fucked up really bad. And he says, I want to make this work, let's get married. And I said, okay. So that's how that happened, and needless to say, it did not go well. You have to spend time knowing a person. Chances are that person's gonna change over time. It says about 3 months, that person starts acting different. 3 months honeymoon phase, and then they are who they are after that. I've seen people change at slower rates. I've seen people change at quicker rates. But what I kept in mind is that people are always morphing, always changing, always growing, always going backwards, always moving around. So they're going to make changes. You have to make sure that you're learning somebody that you want to be with. If not, if you're jumping into it, if you're moving too fast, if you're ignoring all the signs, the red flags, it's just destruction. Another toxic trait that I learned was that somebody would buy me something and make me feel bad for what they bought me or what they did for me. Like, I bought you this and you didn't even say thank you. I bought you this ring and you don't know how expensive that is. It's so expensive, and I bought that for you because it's expensive. And it's kind of like, well, don't buy me anything if you think it's expensive. Don't do that if you feel like I need to bend over backwards or kiss your feet You know, it's kind of a toxic trait for somebody to do that to you, to make you feel like that, to dangle things over your head, to basically try to control you with their money. There's a lot of different signs to toxic relationships. In my opinion, relationships are supposed to flow. Yes, you will have days where that person's getting on your nerves. That person does something you don't like. But if you can work through it, talk about it, communicate, find ways to move through it as a unit, and you treat each other fairly, you are kind to each other, you love each other, this is the best way to be in a relationship. I'll tell you about a toxic relationship that I was in that didn't feel toxic at all. It felt very good. It felt good. We really enjoyed each other's time, each other's company, but it took me 4 years to understand I would never get what I want. After that time period, we remained friends, and then I found out later on he had been married the whole time. This whole time, he would take me places, he would travel with me, we would go out of town, we'll have a great time, he would buy me things. It would be great. We'll enjoy each other's company 100%. The red flag and the toxicity of it all is that I went to his house maybe one time. And this is out of our 4-year relationship. The reason? Because he was married. But whenever I would ask him if he was married, he would say no. I started piecing things together. I would consistently ask, are you married? You're acting married. And he would say, no, I'm not married. He lied to me the whole time. His reasoning for not allowing me in the house was because he had kids and his kids were in the house. And I'm like, well, if I'm a part of your life, why can't I meet your kids? He's like, I'm trying to mesh everybody together and get everyone on the same page first. And it took me 4 years to realize I was being played. And then at the end of this, yes, I found out he was married because he told me he was married the whole time, and I looked like a dumbass. It did not feel toxic, but clearly there were so many signs that this wasn't the right relationship for me, and I ignored them. Sometimes toxic relationships can feel like nothing's going on, nothing's happening, but there are signs there, and all that damage that's happening while you're in that relationship is gonna sit with you afterwards. You have to pay attention to the signs. You have to know when to move forward. You have to know when to say enough is enough. And you have to understand the signs of toxic relationships. Hopefully, those few examples will help you understand, because those are most of the ones that I see. And if I went through them, maybe you're going through them too. And I hope that it helps you move forward, or set your boundaries, or gain a better relationship with this person, or walk away and be free and live your life at the greatest level, because that's what you deserve. Of course, the last one I want to talk about is abuse. Abuse happens so often, and some people don't even know it's happening to them, because it doesn't just have to be physical abuse. There's emotional abuse, there's mental abuse, and of course there's physical abuse. Some women ask me often what to do about abusive relationships, because they're in them and they don't know how to leave and they don't know what to do. My opinion, and this is what I did when I was in one, I stayed around until it became physical abuse. The first time that physical abuse happened, I left. I said, this is not gonna be what my life is gonna be. Some people stay around, some people allow it, and some people find it harder to do that. But my advice is always, you matter more, and you deserve to live a happy life. You deserve it, and it's possible for you to live that happy life. Some people find it difficult to rebuild. Some people think that they can't leave because they don't have money, or I don't know where to start. But there's always someone who's willing to help. There's always someone who's going to help you get on your feet. And even if you have nobody and you don't think you're strong enough, you are. You can do it. You are. Of course, some situations, if there's physical abuse, it's more dangerous. So you have to make sure that if you do decide to leave, you are always safe, and you're making sure that you're taking care of yourself. And maybe if you have kids, your kids, make sure that they are safe. How do I leave a toxic relationship? And my answer is, when you are so tired, when you are tired enough, you will. Thank you for tuning into this video, and like always, if there's someone who needs to hear this word, please pass this forward, and please subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting a lot more content, and thank you so much for supporting. Good day.